everyone, and welcome to the podcast. Today, I have a very special guest. I consider her to be a friend and a mentor, and she's one of the most amazing people I know. She is the biggest cheerleader I've ever met in my life. Her name is Tash Marshall Bean. She is the founder of Authentic Instructor Training. And Tash, welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
I honestly am so excited to be here. And besides you, I'm so
Yay.
excited. Besides you online. Mhm,
Yes, that
mhm.
online space where I have met so many people. It's so funny actually, because Tash lives in Calgary, Alberta, in Canada, and that is where I'm from. And then I moved to Kamloops, BC, and I wanted to become a spin instructor. And it was kind of hard. It was a bit of a bumpy journey. I wasn't really getting where I wanted to go. And then one of the girls at the studio where I now, instruct, her name is Dana, suggested that I get in touch with Tash. And that's how we met, even though we're from the same place, or well, we lived in the same place.
Yes. Well, and I also love Kamloops. I never say it right. Kamloops, but I love it there. It's like the desert of Canada. I love it. And
Yeah,
also Dana. Shout out to Dana. We love you.
we love
Mhm.
Dana. She
We love
really is
you.
the best.
She really is.
So, listen, I had you on today. We're just going to have a casual conversation because here's what I noticed about Tash when I met her. So, she was so energetic. Like, she's the yin to my yang, I swear, because I am not a naturally energetic person, I guess is what I'd say, or that I don't outwardly display emotion like joy um, for whatever reason, which is really interesting because I'm a really sensitive person. So I feel emotion and like sadness comes out quite often, or maybe anger, but not joy. But what I really noticed about Tash was she was so present and she really pumps you up in a way that I've never experienced before. And I think that it's, like it's a testament to your personality, but I also think it's something that you must cultivate because you're really damn good at it. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I think, first of all, thank you. And I do want to compliment you. You may not be joy, like I'm like way out there,
Yeah.
but you have such a calming energy that for someone like me who's so up there, up there, up there, your calm, your vocals, they're amazing. So you bring a lot of calm into this world, Amanda,
Aw.
just in
Well,
case you
what I will
just.
say is that when I started, maybe I'll just share this before I let you speak to that even a little bit more, is that I was really having a confidence problem when it came to spin and teaching spin. I love spin. It's something that I've done for many years. Like I'm trying to think how long I've done it. My first spin class was in my 20s and I'm 46, right? I'm going to be 47 right away here. So over 20 years. And I just had a really hard time getting on that bike and owning my music and being able to be like, yeah, this is what we're going to do. And it's so fun and wanting to do it right and being lost in the perfection of it and sort of shrinking. And you really talked to me and told me, first of all, how amazing I was, which I think all of us need to hear as many times in a row as possible. But you also just really shared with me how you could do it. And you are such a good cheerleader. And maybe you can just tell us a little bit about you and like where you started and how you became this cheerleader, because I really want to know about that.
Yeah. So basically, in my upbringing, to go way back, nobody, I always say this, nobody really believed in my sister and I. So we were kind of like left to fend for ourselves with some interesting situations. And so we were just basically like survival, growing up, getting out. And I think that when I think back of why I went through all of that growing up, I instantly believe in people. Like it's not as though I'm like, I have to like meet you and get to know you and believe in you. I already know. So I feel like my why, which is such a great thing to try and figure out for people sometimes, like what is your why? Like, why do you get out of bed? Why do you exist? Because that's actually hard work trying to figure that
Mhm.
out. And I went through that process and I was like, my why is because I believe in you. I believe in everyone. That's my why. Because nobody believed in my sister and I.
Yeah.
I always loop her in with me, and she's also done extremely well. Like she's in fashion. She definitely pivoted in the pandemic and is selling clothes to winners under her own labels. Like it's amazing. So she's done really well too, but I always include her because it was the both of us and no one believed in us. So that's why I do.
Yeah. How did you turn that corner of believing in yourself?
Well, that I would say the corner of believing in myself is always constantly still a struggle, right? Like I believe in everyone. I believe in me, but I definitely have moments where I'm like, do I have this? You know, do you question yourself? Of course we do. We all do. We know we do. You know, especially with my brain, I have 40 tabs open at all times. I am ADHD with a capital H in there, like really big H. So there's always, you know, the self-doubt that creeps in. And I just try, you know what I do? One of the things I do is actually look back. I save the compliments people send me. And I look back
Right.
and I literally have the compliments and I just look back and I read them and I go, okay, you know, just little things like that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think too, it's a decision, right? Like you've made the decision to do that.
Yeah.
It's something that I talk to my clients about a lot, that we do have to make the decision to have our own back.
Mhm. Well, we won't make it if we don't. And
Mhm.
especially in teaching, I would say teaching anything in what you do and what I do, when you're mentoring and working with people, if they, well, especially in group exercise, if they don't believe in themselves, well, how are they going to believe in the clients that walk in the door?
Mhm.
You have to believe in you first in order to believe in them. And so
Yeah.
that's my job. That's our job is as soon as we get people into training, we start like just like a little podcast here and a little, we just start to like nudge it on, nudge it in. I want you to hop on, do a little video, tell us about yourself. And like, well, I don't want to do a video. Okay, like just push them a little bit over, not over the edge, but just a little bit closer, get them uncomfortable. Because ideally, this is all the work we do within the course. And yeah, it's about learning to teach group exercise or the bike specifically, but it's all about getting them to believe in themselves, getting them out of their head, all the things that we all struggle with,
Yeah.
and then bring that to everyone else.
Yeah, I think that's so smart though. I mean, I don't know what I expected when I signed up for your course exactly. I didn't really know what to expect. I signed up for an online certification, and so I just showed up, and a
Fantastic.
huge part of it was building up your confidence
Yeah.
and understanding, I love that you brought in Amy Cuddy's TED Talk, and I've actually read her book years ago, but I completely forgot about it, to be honest with you. And, in that book and in that TED Talk, she really talks about how body language strongly affects your confidence and how other people receive you and how you receive yourself. And it's true. Like if you walk into any situation with your shoulders back, with, your head up, giving eye contact, like portraying a confidence that you might not actually feel,
Yeah.
you're going to feel better and they're going to feel better.
Yeah. Exactly. Even just power poses in the mirror,
Mm-hmm.
which I may have done this morning because I knew today was like a really busy day. And one of my trainers was here all weekend and she just flew out. So I'm like, bye. And then just so slammed. So I did the old, probably, I don't know if you all can see us, but I did the old, like in the mirror, like, yeah, like literally I did that this morning, just
Yeah.
like a reset. I've got this. Okay, I can do it.
Well, I think, it kind of, I love that because the name of your business, like Authentic Instructor, right? You are,
Oh,
I believe, the definition of authenticity.
I love authenticity. And I think that that's where some people might get lost is finding themselves, or there's so many things. There's so many things. Like somebody may have told you in your life to be quieter, and literally I'm like, no, I want you to get bigger, I want you to be louder, and I want you to find your spin voice. And you're breaking these people out of things that they may have experienced even subconsciously, they may not even know, and literally I'm breaking them back out to be them.
Yeah.
So many people tell other people whatever, like things, I don't like this, I don't like that, and it's really hard to work through that, and it stays with you.
Yeah.
And so then within my role and our trainers is really, for me, I just see it. I start to see it right away. I can tell. I'm a little bit, I don't want to say I'm weird that way, but I would say that that's my superpower. It's like, how do I get it out of people And how do I even see that the struggle is there? And I don't know. I just see it.
You
And
definitely do. I mean, I think it's also the probably hundreds, thousands of people that you've worked with is you have so much experience
but
in
everyone's
doing
so
that.
unique. Yeah. Everyone's so unique and they bring different. It's just so interesting. I don't know. I love it. It's the art, right? It's the art of listening. It's the art of learning about people and just the situations that they've been through.
Yeah. Well, you've trained a lot of instructors, I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
Yeah, I have. I lost count. I kind of say we've worked with 70 boutique spin studios and then we've trained over 1900. I actually lost count a bunch of years ago. So I'm just like, oh, that number sounds good. It could be 3,000. I have no idea. Then we
Yeah.
also branched off and we did like level up for instructors, like to go to their next level. So we did that. So there's a lot of instructors.
Well, then you think about the trickle down effect of that too, right? How
That
those people are impacting other people who, like, it's just amazing.
that that I miss a lot. And when that comes back to me, I actually had someone, Natalie, oh God, even I think it was 2 weeks ago, and she had said, so one of the things in my training, as you know, don't. Like when we coach to people, and when they're racing, it's like, don't stop, don't stop. Well, what does that make me want to do? Stop, maybe give you the finger. At the end of the day, it's like keep going, yes, you can, you've got this, we've got this. And so I talk about that, or we talk about that. And she had said that change in coaching for her had really changed some people. They had come up to her at some point and just said, like, I don't know. I honestly, I can't remember specifically what she had said, but the point was, it was our coaching has saved someone's life. It was
Wow.
really like that. I was like, what? In just changing the language, because the other thing I talk about is when people come to classes, as opposed to us saying, what brought you here today? What brought you here? And what if they're going through a divorce? What if their cat died? What if, right? Like, what if they're going through something? And all we do the whole class is remind them why they're here. So instead, I turn that scenario, this is why you're here. We're 3/4 through a climb, legs are screaming, as Amanda has said. I love that. And, this is why you're here. You're building strength. We've got this. We're riding together. And so basically we talk about that in training. And in doing that, she had begun coaching differently. And literally, I think one person said, you saved my life. Like I couldn't even.
Yeah.
The trickle effect is amazing. I hear about it every once in a while because it's also the program and going into these studios and making people feel successful, because where we start is not where we finish. But when we start studios, we have to dial it back a ton. Because
Right.
if we just came in and started a studio and no one's ridden in that town and we're doing jogs out of the saddle super fast, the instructor and one person in the class, who's coming back?
Totally.
I would hazard to say that for studios that are open and been open for years, if you're teaching a class and the instructor can do it and 3 other in the front row and no one else, you better check yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's my mic drop stuff.
I mean, it is a two-way communication. I do think that that is kind of fascinating. And that's something that you did really teach is that, when you're teaching, you want to be looking around and seeing what people are doing.
What's your room? Oh my gosh. I mean, safety first, not second.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what if somebody was starting to faint? Like, I literally could see it when we opened the attic spin studio in Moose Jaw. There, I could just see the girls' like legs are starting to slow and slow. And I was like, oh boy, it went over, scooped her off the bike outside.
Oh,
Yeah, taking care of her. And it was hilarious because I didn't realize how many people were nurses there. I was like, okay, well, why was I doing that? And they were like, oh, Tash, you had it handled. I'm like, okay. But you have to watch anytime. There could be any time that we feel like maybe a little lightheaded or whatever. I'm always watching the room. And I make eye contact with everybody in the room.
yeah. Yeah. That's a big deal, right? Seeing the actual people as humans in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
That are bringing their energy. It's funny. I was teaching a class. I started a group program in my coaching business. It's amazing. We're doing this beta and I taught the first class and I was talking about having a healthy relationship with your brain. That was really what the course was all about. And I was saying that I was talking about the good tenets of like a healthy relationship. And one of them is communication. And I'm like, what are the properties of good communication? And one of them, of course, is listening. I'm like, but it's not just listening. Listening with understanding is what you need to be doing. And when you're communicating with anybody, you want to understand, right? And I do find like one of the things you taught that I thought was also really impactful was get to know your people, understand the qualities of people that are extroverts and introverts, really get to know everyone, like meet them where they're at, start having conversations with them, make them feel welcome, make them feel like they're part of a community.
Yeah. And also, how do you, knowing the difference between introvert and extrovert, and this is spin training. And it's like, and this is all stuff I've learned, not gonna lie, I've learned it the hard way. This is all the training with Tashiisms that I've learned along the way. I shouted out an introvert, and I got a 2 out of 5 star on Mind Body, and I was like, sorry, I was just trying to make you feel welcome. And right, like, oh, I don't shout out an introvert. Well, I'm an extrovert. I may be a shy extrovert, but I'm not, like, I didn't know you don't shout out introverts. So this is all stuff that I've learned over the years.
Yeah.
And then, so how do you connect with an introvert? While you're teaching your class, before you start, after? Because as much as it's about training people to learn how to teach a spin class, it's about connection first. We all want to feel part of something. We want to feel seen. We want to feel heard. We want to feel loved. That's it. That's number one. That's number one. So yeah, we have a freaking bomb ass program. Absolutely. But it's all the other stuff. I'm a shy extrovert. It is not my MO to walk into a room and just start talking to people. Absolutely not. The people, and again, I really feel energy. So I'm like, if I feel your energy, I'm coming up to you. I'm like, yeah. But I really struggle with making conversation, maybe with an introvert or whatever. So I actually have in our training, we have open-ended questions to get the clients talking. Because at the end of the day, the class isn't about us. It's about our clients. One of my big mentors, Emma Berry, shout out, Emma Berry, I love you. I love you.
Amazing.
He has such the best line. If they like you, they'll leave you. If they love you, they'll stay. What are you going to do to get the clients to stay and to love them, love you?
Yeah.
Difference.
In order for them to love you, you have to love them though, right? I think that's the key.
And love yourself. That's number one, right? And then getting to know them, learning their names, remembering and using them. And then if you remember something about them, like Amanda, how's that skiing going? Man, a little conversation about skiing, pre this, just remembering something about them. And again, it's that easy. The most important name is your own name.
Yeah.
Your own name.
Yeah. Even just, I know one of the things that I've remembered recently is just at the end of the class, reminding people like, my name's Amanda. I'm, if you have any questions, comments, if you have, if you have a recommendation for a song you want to hear, if you have a theme that you'd like me to tap into, like, come talk to me. I'm open to all of it.
Yeah. I try and avoid the feedback of like, if you have any questions, concerns, or feedback. We used to say that for years. And I was like, you know what? The people that are going to have feedback are going to give feedback anyway. Why would I open myself up to that? So I'm like, if you have any questions, any concerns, anything you want to talk about, song requests, let me know. I'm training with Tashi on Instagram. If you want to be friends, there's another thing. If you want to be friends, not I'm training with Tashi on Insta to follow me. No.
Yeah.
Friend. I want to friend you.
You're good at that. You're good at creating that community, and I noticed that even on your Instagram. If you're not following Tash, you should. What is your Instagram handle again? Friending. Sorry. Yeah. If you want to go friend Tash on Instagram, my apologies. What is your handle?
Training with Tashi.
Training with Tashi. Yeah, make sure you do. She's great.
Having said that, I do have like a little bit of a difference in my numbers. Here's what I do not recommend: the unfollow app.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that could be another whole conversation, but that would be why I have a difference in my numbers, and it's fine. Everything's fine. I may have screamed, cried for 24 hours when one of my good friends unfollowed me, and they're like, we just want to see your home life. I was like, this is my life. Like, stepkids are grown, they're in Ontario, have a third one here. Fantastic, Jess, yes. But this is actually my life. This is it.
Yeah.
This is why I exist.
I have had friends unfollow me. I mean, listen, I'm not for everybody. I think that is something that you really need to grab a hold of and understand as not being a problem.
Yeah. I mean, it was early on when I did this, and I was
Yeah.
like, we're going to just ditch this. So do not recommend. Amanda and I do not recommend that app or any of those.
No, don't track
No.
that shit. That
Yeah,
is not, that is not healthy for your brain. And it does not, social media is the wild, wild west. And, you know, I have most of my family members are anti-social media, which I think is super interesting. Like my dad, I think is on Facebook now, but wasn't for forever. And my brother isn't, my sister-in-law isn't, and they're not on Instagram, none of the things. I think they're both on LinkedIn, but
yes,
they always tell me the horrors of social media. And I'm like, listen, I have met some unbelievably amazing quality people on social media.
100%. And I meet them on social, and then I meet them in real life. And it's just like, it's the best. I love social media.
Me too.
I love it. I having said that, I try to avoid getting caught in the scroll. Like, I go in, the first thing I see, I'm like, hey, yes, if I love it. Then I go into my, 30 messages, try and get caught up, and then I'm out because I'm on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Right. So I have to really make sure I schedule time, because it's not all about me. I want to know what you're all doing too. So trying to take that time to catch up on everyone else as well. But I do love it. I do love it.
Yeah. And I think it's also this, I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, I unfollow people and mute them with reckless abandon. And so if you post something that's super triggering for me, I probably will mute you. And if I can't mute you, I'll unfollow you. And it's not personal. It's just, I also tend to my own emotional and mental well-being first. I matter the most. It's one of the things that I teach my clients always. I'm like, you must matter the most. If you're worried that makes you a narcissist, then I already know you're not a narcissist. So you're fine.
Exactly.
Like, you don't need to worry.
I'm like, am I a narcissist? I go through the checklist. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no.
But I'm always checking myself.
But you're not a narcissist if you're worried about being a narcissist. Can we
Right, exactly. That's what I think too. That's why I'm like, okay, check.
The fact that you're concerned about this means that you're not. It's more so about protecting your mental well-being, right? And it's really understanding that when we pull in the world and we're looking at social media and we have this stream of everybody else's lives, that our brain is pulling that through this filter that's like got so many parts. Like, is your period coming? Are you perimenopausal? Like, did you have trauma that, surrounds this kind of thing? How much sleep did you get? All of that is the filter. And so sometimes the way that gets filtered, the way that it makes you feel is super, super shitty. And so you just have to really have your own back with respect to that.
Yeah. I actually, here's a confession. My best day on social media is not seeing any other spin, because there is Instagram spin out there. And I just, some is amazing. And some I just can't watch. Like, I literally rock in a corner. I was like, I have to retire. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. And you know what I do? I just tell people now, like, I'm sorry, I won't be like, no, I'm not watching it. So my best day on my, is it discovery page on Insta, is like ADHD quotes, cute puppies, like,
yes,
swag. I love swag, right? Like, that's my best day.
Yeah. So tell me this, how do you keep yourself going? Because you are very, I know I hate the word busy, but you are very busy. You do a lot. I mean, you have your online spin instructor certification, you have your in-person, you start studios, you do Legree. You're also teaching entrepreneurship at the University of Calgary. Plus I'm assuming, you have a life. Maybe.
Mentoring students at U of C. I definitely want to get to teaching them. I'm like, U of C, shout out. Yeah, we want to get there. but I love the mentorship. Yeah. I think, listen, I'm not going to lie. I'm definitely and we were talking about this before. I'm at this stage in my business where it's scale up or stay. But where I am right now is I'm in the weeds. Like we used to use that always in waitressing. You're in the weeds, you're in the weeds, I'm in the weeds. I'm in the weeds. And luckily I have my Laura, shout out to my Laura who keeps my brain on straight. My trainers have been freaking amazing. My Jess, she's my pseudo third stepchild. So I'm lucky I have many resources, but I definitely am at this stage where I wake up overwhelmed every day, and part of it's the ADHD too. Like, it's just like, I forget. That's why I even have a notepad in front of me right now, like to write down things to try and not interrupt and write down. But I'll wake up at 3 a.m. like, oh my God, I forgot to get back to someone. And then I'm up for the whole day. So I'm definitely at this stage where I'd love to say like, oh, I've got it together and everything's amazing. And it's not. No, it's not. It's not. It's like in the weeds every day, a lot of overwhelm, trying to head to my next level, trying to scale up, have attempted to scale up a couple times and just didn't make it. It's just this very pivotal time. So yeah, so it's
I appreciate the honesty though. I mean, I do. I think that, I think a lot of times, like I see this in business coaching, Tash and I talked before we got on this call or on this podcast and hit record. And one of the things we talked about was, for me in my world, I'm surrounded by coaches. Like you're surrounded by spin instructors. I'm surrounded by coaches. And I do see, and I'm surrounded by a lot of business coaches. And so what I do see is a lot of people talking about things that matter from the standpoint of that's how they get people interested. Like it's this, money, like, oh, make 6 figures, make 7 figures, make 8 figures or whatever, right? Like whatever it is for you. And it just becomes like a lot of noise. And it's not very honest. Like I am a big fan of honesty and authenticity. And I think that's why I really vibed with you right away. I think that's why my clients vibe with me. I think that's why your clients vibe with you. And it's really noticing that.
Yeah, I think you're going to be, I think I'm going to be your next client. I think there's that too, just so you know.
Well, you can be my client anytime.
No, I'm in. I got to join the course. I don't know how late. Can you let me in late like I do with others? So I definitely need in and need to do that work as well. You just have so much education around that. And at the end of the day, I don't want to say I'm fly by the seat of my pants, but listen, I did one party term at Bishop's University in Lennoxville, Quebec. Woo! Then I was in Chateau Lake Louise. I was like, I worked at the Chateau. I lived in residence. That was my university years.
That's amazing.
I traveled the world. I came back.
Jealous.
Bartender. Yeah, that was my university years. So first of all, the fact that I'm mentoring people at a university, I'm like living my best life. I can't even, I just love it. I'm like, how am I here? And because
I think I know why you're here. I just sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to say this because I think it's really, really important. And I think anybody listening should hear it. I think that people think that people like you are fearless. And I don't think you're fearless at all. And I don't mean that in a negative way. But what I mean is you are willing to feel afraid. And that's the difference.
Oh, yeah. And overwhelm and, all the things. And
like you're feeling it.
Oh, I am. Yeah. The best part is I always laugh the entrepreneur life. The entrepreneur life is so attractive. It is so great. And here's all the reasons why. And I have my sister, Carmela Tam Tam. My sister is like, you need to stop. You need to go get a real job. You can't do this anymore. Okay. I'm in New Zealand, one of my besties since Lake Louise, 24. She flew me over to New Zealand. I love you, Kate. I love you. She has this big talk with me, sits me down, everything. Your business isn't good for you. It's like, come on.
It's true.
It is in the aspect of just even trying to create brownies. I've gotten better over the years. Like I used to be at the studio and I was beck and call, like right there.
Mm-hmm.
And even right now, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I missed Shaylin's message. She left me a voice note. Darn it. Like literally that's my brain. I'm on a podcast. I'm like, oh no. right? Urban
Yeah,
studio.
but
So
can I normalize that just a little bit?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
what I think we believe, I've had this conversation with so many people and many, many times with myself. We think that there's some destination where we're going to escape our own brain, and that's never going to happen.
I
Okay.
can't. It's never going to happen.
So
I
your
already,
brain that you have, that you had when you were 20 and you were at Lake Louise and whatever, same brain with you now. And
right.
I think that we do get a little lost in that we think that there's some magical destination where our brain is going to be different, and it's just never going to be different. And
Yeah.
that's not a problem. And I do believe like with my whole heart and soul that
Yeah.
being an entrepreneur is the most amazing job and the most
Yes.
fucked up job
Yeah.
mixed all together forever and ever.
Words to live by. And that's the thing. That's where the honesty comes in. Because I was like, oh, hashtag entrepreneur life. I'm ripping down a Legree. I was going to spend half an hour reviewing Legree. And then I had 10 fires I have to put out. And now I'm sacrificing my Legree class. And that's not fair to Legree. That's not, and I'm just always running on close to empty. And that's where my family and friends are seeing. And they're like, Tash, like, no, no, no. And I'm like, no, but it's also this, remember the pandemic really screwed fitness. I happened to take my business online a weekend and ended up doing, had amazing support from my trainers, and we did really well and put tons of people through training and really refined our online program, which we're still doing to this day. But
Which
at
you
the
will
end
be doing forever and ever.
I love it. I can't even, I feel like somebody loves me because I keep getting extensions on my career. I've had a lot of injuries on the bike. Am I as solid on the bike as I was when I was 27? No, but we just sit and talk, and I have videos, and we have trainers, and my trainers are teaching. It's fantastic. I blacked out there. I forgot what my point of the story was.
It's
See?
totally fine. I do that all the time.
ADHD.
I
Anyone
think,
there?
I think the thing that, I kind of just want to speak to is that, you talked about having ADHD, and
Yeah,
I see that like in the things you struggle with, right? And struggling
yeah,
with overwhelm and struggling with like keeping track of all the tasks. And I mean, I think that I just first want to normalize it. I think that also when we're really, really busy, when we do have a lot of things and we have a lot of balls that we're juggling, it's
yeah.
normal to feel overwhelmed. It's normal
Oh
to
yeah.
feel like we're dropping everything. We want to look at the language we use to talk about and to ourselves,
Yes.
because we tend to say things like, I'm a hot mess. And that's not true.
Yeah.
Okay. Cause like, I'll tell you what I see in you is I see this really powerful, fucking
Yeah.
amazing woman who is really changing people's lives, who changed my life.
Oh,
And I think that it's so amazing for anybody to hear that you can have all this great stuff going for you and still bump into your own brain.
oh, 100%. Absolutely. And that's where I read that. And even, we're so, again, so blessed. We have, I think, 192 5-star reviews on Google.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even.
That's no joke.
Oh no. And that's where you read that and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I changed someone's life. How did I do that? That's just me being me in everyday life. And it's my, again, when I say me, I mean like my team, the trainers, everyone. Um, it's just, I think it just goes back to believing in people and knowing they can do it
Yeah.
and building their confidence over the 6 weeks. That's why I swear by our 6-week program
Mm-hmm.
over and over and over. To be a spin instructor in 8 hours, never going to happen. I mean, it's out there. Yeah, you'll become an instructor, but I would say you'd want to go to your next level pretty quick.
You're missing some key pieces. I think that being able to, because it really, I kind of thought that it would be, like you get on the bike together and you ride together, and it wasn't like that at all. And that was perfect for me. And I even remember when I was auditioning again for my studio and I was messaging with you and I was like, yeah, I'm going to get on practice again. And you're like, get off the bike. You
Get off
already
the
know
bike.
how to bike. You know how to
Get
ride a
off
bike.
the bike. Yeah, because that was well, and also Amanda figure skates. Like she's got a lot of athletics going on already. And then I'm just gonna get on the bike and practice again for the, I don't know, third time, maybe in 2 days. I was like, get off the bike. I need you nowhere near the bike. I need you dancing around in your kitchen with your playlist on.
Mm.
I need you starting to feel the music, love the music, pulling wording from the music. How can you shout out to the people in your audition? How can you, like, it's all those things. Because as much as it's about riding a bike, it's also for the people that do ride the bike all the time. At the end of the day, they need to get off the bike. The bike is their comfort zone. So we have to
Yeah,
get
the
them.
bike is not even the point, right? It's like,
It really, exactly. That's the mic drop. Boom.
it's just it's a vehicle. I mean,
Nailed it.
quite literally that goes nowhere.
Yeah.
But
And really nice too. Very cute.
but I do
Unreal.
think that, it's really, I do think the one thing that we do as entrepreneurs is that we experience a lot more fear, and we have more capacity for it. Like, we have a capacity for that fear that you don't have if you're not an entrepreneur. And I mean, that's a really sweeping statement. Listen, I recognize that somebody listening to this might be like, in my career, there's a lot of fear, and I get it. I think it's a very specific type when you're doing this, because you kind of just make shit up
Yeah.
and
Well,
then go out in the world.
I think that's what I was talking about. Bishop's University, like one
Mhm.
term. Like, do I have a business degree? God, no. Did I write my business on the back of a napkin? Yeah, thanks, Charlie. Like, yeah. Like, what am I doing? I don't know. Like, I just keep rolling every day. I'm like, okay, we're going to do another training. All right. Okay. We've got more momentum. We've got more studios here. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Like, people are like, where do you want to be in 5 years? I'm like, doing the same thing and more. Like, I'm not that person that's like, okay, I'm going to plan out how my business is going to look in 5 years and da, da, da. It's like, I want exactly the same and more, and a more outreach. I want more men in my training. I'm like, we have
Mhm.
50% of men coming to the website. I'm always like, it must be because I'm so cute.
Yes.
OMG. But we're not translating them. Moving to online, we could be all over the world. Like New Zealand, their party on a bike classes and none. I'm like, would I get up in the middle of the night to train people online? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I actually probably wouldn't need to with New Zealand because it's like the next day, less 4 hours.
I
But
think if you do like 11 a.m. for most places, like, it's kind of works.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. I
that's
mean,
so fascinating. I do think, yeah, that's interesting. The idea of having more men, because it is, half the population. Just saying.
right? Like, let's go. And yeah, there's so many things. And again, that goes back to like starting to get to the next level and these spots within your business. And today, I mean, literally, you've caught me on a day where, yeah, I've been feeling overwhelmed. And am I going to get through it? Absolutely. And
Mhm.
any entrepreneur listening to this would be like, oh yeah, I've had those days. Oh my God. And then we get back to, oh, we love being an entrepreneur. I can get up when I want. I'm not going to work in rush hour, coming home in rush hour with everyone else. There's so many advantages. I'm working at home. My kitty's about to jump up on the table, all those things. But make no mistake, when people are like entrepreneur and everything, like, listen, talk to someone, talk to Amanda first. There's so many things. There's pluses and there's also negatives. And that
Yeah, in
my
everything, right?
family, yeah, my friends and family are trying to pull me out of my own business. It's not good for you. I'm like, yes, it is. I just need to, like, it's good.
I think it's one of those things where, you know, I do think it's a relationship that we have with our business, just like we have a relationship with ourselves and we have a relationship with our other people. I think that what we need to remember about any relationship is that it's kind of a living, breathing thing of its own.
Yeah.
And it's really noticing, how is this breathing life into me and how am I breathing life into it? And when we start answering those questions, then we get a little bit more clarity with respect to what do I want to be doing and what don't I want to be doing.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that people tell me all the time, and maybe you hear this too, you must, is I just want to be more confident. And I'm always interested by the emotion of confidence, because I'm like, confidence comes from knowing how to do something.
Yes.
So you can't have confidence until you know how to do it. And you're not going to know how to do it until you go and you do it.
Right. Or you learn how to do it and then put the methodology in.
Right.
Exactly. You're nailing it. You're so good
What
at
you do need, though, right? It's
it.
courage, right? Like, you need a
Yes.
shit ton of courage.
Mm.
So like,
And
how do you give women courage? How do you do that for the people that you help?
I think it's just in the little things. I think listening, and probably some people listening are like, Tash, she's such a great listener. They're gonna be like, Tash, you are the worst listener. Again, I'm an active listener. I interrupt a lot, ADHD. Oh my goodness. Hasn't worked out so well in the dating world. It is starting to now, but there was a time, right? Like, so, but I am actively listening. But things like one of our girls in our course right now, really struggle with confidence and just like, I can't do it. Like, we're almost at the end and she sent me a note. I can't do it. I don't think I could do it. And I was like, yes, you can. Like, if you don't believe in yourself right now, I believe in you. So you need to roll on that until we can get you to believe in yourself. But at the end of the day, it's just seeing where they're at and giving them what they need. And just, for me, it's like loving. Hi, Lola.
I know
It's
your
like
cat's like
loving,
staring
I
right at
know.
me.
It's just loving on people. And I don't know, it's funny because I can't really describe what I do, but when I'm in the situation, and maybe that's where you could describe what I did do with you, but I see it. I see
Well, I
it, and
think that's
it's
the point, is that you see
yeah,
it.
I see
Like,
it. I see
there's
it.
no reason why you can't do this, is I
Yeah,
think the thought.
right. And we've had people with like limitations. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Get in here. Because I'll take
Mhm.
extra time. Like, I'll do what it takes to get you there.
Yeah. Do you think there's anybody that's incapable?
No, heck no.
I asked that because I know there's people listening right now, and I've heard multiple people tell me they can't do it. Like, they can't be a spin instructor. They can't be an entrepreneur. They can't go out and skate in a
Bullshit.
competition. And I'm like, but why are you so uniquely fucked?
Yeah. Having said that, if I had to go out and skate in a competition, I definitely, and that actually makes my insides curl. So there are things like, make no mistake, I'm like, absolutely not. We can do it. We can do it. Finding where, like, for me, public speaking is like, oh, if it's something I'm comfortable talking about, yes. But like going out and skating on a competition or doing something with a team where they rely on you to nail it, I don't know. So I think that there's things that you can do, and then there's moments where we just have to do a little bit more work, myself included.
Mm-hmm.
And some people just want to take the course because they just want to take their riding further. Like, even
Yeah.
in week one, we talk about bike setup and we really look at it, and everyone looks at. I've had so many people going like, I rode 5 notches down. Like, I put myself up 5 notches. I was like, oh my God,
5 notches?
5 notches. I was just
God.
like, how are we not catching that in our spin classes? Look at your class. I
Yeah.
walk around before class and we go, hey, can I look at your bike setup? And da da da. Like, it's even things like that. So maybe they come in not the expectation to teach, but just wanting to take their riding further and get more confident riding. Because as
Yeah.
much as we can assess you teaching a track on climb, I can assess someone riding a bike on a climb. And then through that work, and I'm not saying I'm going to get them all the teaching. Some people don't want to get there, but at least try. I can
Yeah.
refine we can refine their technique and all that. And then that starts to help build their confidence. And then even when we do these things, when we do the first climb track, it's like, you know what? You may not say a word.
Right.
And you don't have to, especially in the weekend trainings. Like, we get them within 3 hours of them getting in to try and teach a climb track.
Ah,
And we don't tell them that before training. Oops. But literally, it's just try. You could
yes.
not do anything. You don't even, like, if you stand up on a music change, hell yeah. If you say one word, great. If you don't say anything, still great. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what it's about, coming in with what you have, with where you are, and let's take you to your next level.
But I just think that's such a great analogy for life, because that's what it is.
But that goes back to us saying, yeah, I'm training the bike right now. Well,
Mm-hmm.
really, are we training the bike? Yeah, we are, but it's not. It's how do you build confidence? James, oh my God, James's review. James Caseman, big shout out to you too. We love you. You know, he literally sent me a note and said, I have not been able to do public speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And from everything with your training, I did it. I did it. I was like, oh, yes.
Yeah.
We had a girl
Yeah.
in Phoenix after one day of training. She went out and what's a karaoke.
Oh,
Never
fun.
had done it before. I was like, Biz, yes, like those are the moments, right?
Well, they're the ones that make you feel the most alive, wouldn't you say?
Well, that's exactly it. You know, if we're living in this world, and yeah, am I in a little bit of strife with my company right now? Am I overwhelmed? But I'm still like, I get up and I'm like, let's play the day. Let's go. Right?
Yeah.
Like, hit the reset button, get back in, talk to someone like you, like connect with people in your day. You know, even the pandemic, I found the last round of shutdowns really, it was easier to stay home than go out.
Mm-hmm.
And I made this whole last summer about I need to find everyone again. And I haven't found everyone yet, but find everyone. I went back to teaching Legree. You know, I just it's even things like that. That's not even about spin training. It's like if you're wherever you are in your journey and you're listening to us on here, maybe it's just like calling a friend that you haven't talked to and going for the coffee. Do not bail.
Yeah.
Like little things like that. It's just one foot in front of the other all the time, every day. And if you can find moments of joy, and for me, I'm like, I collect mindful moments, you know, of just like the sun comes in and I'm like sitting there with the sun on my face and I just take a moment.
Yeah.
Right. Those are, to me, those are mindful moments.
Your connection to joy and fun is super noticeable.
And I try. I mean, and this is where people like, you need to meditate. You need to, I was like, yeah, sure. But I just like, yeah, I also agree. I just find moments in my day where I'll be like the taste of my coffee.
Yeah. I don't think you need to meditate is what I was going to say. And I just want to offer that because
I know you.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and listen, this is secondhand information, so take it for what it is.
Yeah.
But she was telling me that women don't really actually, our brains don't work well with like seated meditation, that we actually don't function well in that type of meditation. And that actually what they've shown is through the years that women have been meditative in community. So like think about women in knitting circles. Knitting is very meditative because your hands are doing, and there's the clicking, and it's actually a very meditative process that isn't that like sit down and get all zen and make your brain be quiet, like not that. And listen, if you do that and you're a woman, I think it's great, do it. But I just want to offer there's a lot of ways to meditate, and a lot of the things that you're doing are meditative. Like you taking the minute to feel the sun on your face,
Oh,
you really tasting your coffee, that is
yeah.
meditative.
Yeah. I'll
Just,
have a bath and read my book and
yeah.
put the phone, everything away, put it away. I have my phone on do not disturb 3/4 of the day.
Yeah, you have to, or you would never get
Gets so
anything
mad at
done.
me. She's like, I tried to call you. I'm like, I'm really sorry. Let me know. Because you find the things. My phone is one of my greatest sources of anxiety. It doesn't stop
Mhm.
dinging. I'm like, I hear 3 dings, it's off, it's sleep mode. Like
Yeah, my
literally.
notifications are off for everything. I
Yeah,
don't, especially when I'm at my computer, I can't have my notifications off because it's
yeah.
too distracting.
I already have enough distractions with my nest brain. So it's like, I don't need any more. But those are the things like deciding, making that decision to, you know what, I may piss my sister off, but I'm going to stay and do not disturb for 3/4 of the day.
Well, yes.
If
And
you
really
need me, you'll
working,
text
learning
me.
how to work with your specific brain, right? I think that
Yeah.
is a key that so many of us don't. Well, we're never taught that. School's not set up for that. So we don't ever, we actually stop trusting ourselves of knowing what's best for us.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right? Your intuition, what do you feel inside? Trust it.
Yeah, because you kind of know, except when it comes to fear. I'm like, so fear is, I love Tony Robbins, like,
Yeah.
not like whatever his acronym, like fuck everything and run, right? And
Oh, I've
that's,
never even heard
oh
that.
yeah, that's what he calls it. And so I heard that and I was like, that's totally it, because like you're just
Yeah.
on high alert. And fear, I agree with you. You don't need to expose yourself to fear all day, every day. Don't do that. That'd be terrible. That you would not be okay.
But I also think one of the most pivotal things that you bring, and actually that you bring to me today, is the mentorship. That
Mhm.
I'm literally on this podcast talking to you, going, Amanda, I need you as a mentor. Like,
I will
right?
be
Like, I'm not even
I will be
kidding.
your mentor
I'm
any
like,
day.
yeah, like I need to join that group, and I need to do the work, and I need to do that. And because I don't know everything. I try to surround myself with people who are even brighter than me, and I love it. Like, just everybody has knowledge between their ears. Every person.
Yes, I agree with you. And I also just, I think that you are really good at doing that, and you are good at searching out for help and asking for support when you need it. And anybody listening to this, I know, like, I've just talked to so many people that listen to this podcast, a lot. And mentorship is a whole different level than listening to a podcast. And
Yeah.
I think podcasts are great. There's a place for them.
Yes.
If this podcast helps you, listen to it like on repeat, please do that. It is a free resource and it's really going to help you. But mentorship, like when I invested in training with Tash, what I think, maybe or don't know, I can't remember if I shared it before, I'd already invested in a training that didn't really help in the way that I wanted it to help. And so then I was investing even more money in something that I didn't even know if it was going to work out. Like, I didn't know for sure that I was going to get through that training and that I would be a spin instructor. And there was no guarantee. But I just decided that it meant enough to me that I wanted to spend the money and put the time in to try and create the results. So
Yeah. We have a good line that Sarah, one of our trainers, said, and it's like, in order to complete the course, you have to complete the course.
yes.
And that's what I'm finding lately is people are doing 3/4 or, not submitting videos. And it's okay if they don't want to. Some of them don't have to, but at the end of the day, like, do the work. Do the work.
Do the uncomfortable work.
Right?
It's the one
Yeah. You
that's the
did.
one that's going to grow you, right?
Yeah.
It's that uncomfortable shit that's going to make you go,
Yeah.
oh, like
I'm
that
really
felt
proud of you.
terrible, but I got there.
Right. Like, even the fact that you said, I paid for a training, I did a training, I didn't get what I wanted. You did have to pay, and you had to pay more money for my training.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you decide, here's what I do, because I remember you had a lot of questions, and I was like, I'll get you there. But at the end of the day, I wish it would have been me that got you there first. But at the end of the day, it's part of the journey, it's part of your journey. Right.
Yes.
And I think it's so important to share that, of just like, sometimes you have to do it twice. You didn't give up.
I think that is like, if you don't give up, you can get anything you want in life.
Yeah.
Just don't give up.
Yeah. Keep going. Yes, you can. To everyone
Yes.
on this podcast. Yes,
I think
we
I must have
can.
picked that up from you in like spin class. And I noticed I say
Oh,
that
yeah.
a ton in my classes. I'm like, oh, is this getting annoying? I think I say this a lot.
I'm definitely like, so good. It's so good. Somebody even said like, oh, it's a Tashism. I'm like, oh my God. No, it's just, again, in coaching and everything in life, and cueing with instructors, variety of cues. We say the same stuff over and over. So there's another part of my training. We get variety of cues.
Yes.
Right? Like,
So
just
many good
just the
things.
same thing. It's interesting, but
Things you don't think about the psychology of it. Well, listen, I mean, like I could talk to you literally all day.
I love it.
But I just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to come in, talk to the people on my podcast. I personally just love talking to you. I think that what you're giving the world is incredible. How can people find you if they want to work with you?
I think just, again, Instagram, Training with Tashi. I'm on Facebook too. Facebook, I feel like it's having a bit of a comeback. I've kind of
Mhm.
missed it. But Tash Marshall Bean is my business page. And then just, I mean, at the end of the day, website, authenticinstructortraining.ca. But I feel like Instagram is the quickest way. I try and get in there a couple times a day. Definitely some days I'm like, oh my gosh, I missed 24 hours. What was your story? Oh man. But we're all doing our best.
Yeah. And you know what? Tash also has some really cute merchandise that you can check out as well. So you can check that out. Okay, Tash, thank you for being here. I really am so grateful that you took the time to be on this podcast. Anybody listening, I really do highly recommend, going and friending her on Instagram. If we're not friends on Instagram, I don't know what's happening. Come find me at Bucket
Exactly.
Disorder and have a beautiful
Best,
day.
best name ever. Fuck your disorder. I love it. I love it so much. I love you.
Thank
And I'm
you.
so grateful that I got to share this moment with you, this podcast. It's amazing.
Same. Okay, everyone. Take care.
Take
We'll
care.
talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.